Not the sports news on Africa with Romy Titus and Kevin McCallum.
Well, as promised, we are chatting now to Adul Ebrahim. He's head of referees out at SAFA, and we talked to him in light of obviously what happened this weekend between Stellies and Chiefs, and everybody is still talking about it. Abdul, a warm welcome to the show, and thank you so much for your time.
Good morning, ma'am, and thank you for having me. Good morning to the listeners.
Always good to chat with you. What happened exactly? I guess by the time you got into your office on Monday, was the paperwork, a mile high in terms of Stellies and Chiefs and the refereeing decisions made?
You'd be surprised if I were to say no.
Wow.
But obviously, we follow the news, and we can see what is in the media. So, yeah. But what we do, and what I normally do every Monday morning, is I look through some of the reports that we've received, and then go through whatever some of the areas of improvement are, and that's where we pick up whether we had perceived errors or not.
Yeah, can you go back and change something like that, or does it stand? Even though perhaps where I'm sitting, and I'm not a ref, I'm saying, but that needed to be overturned. Can you go back and change something?
There are very few things that can be changed. For example, if a player is mistakenly given a red card, let's say, for example, number 3 was meant to be sent off, and number 3 was not sent off, but number 13 was sent off. That is something that can be reviewed. But as per the laws of the game, the referee's decision is final.
How many refs do we have in the country? And how many have gone through the system in order to be on that pitch and upholding the laws of the game?
We have had, over the years, quite a few match officials that go through extensive training on an annual basis. Currently, on our national panel, we have about plus minus 90 match officials. And development is always ongoing. Whether we provide them with the latest materials, the latest tools, training techniques, resources, etc. Refereeing decisions, as we know, come down to humans. Referees are humans, and humans make errors. And yes, errors are going to occur from time to time. And it's amazing how over the past 3-4 months we've had a very quiet period, and then one perceived error hits the headlines, and everybody makes a noise.
Yeah.
I suppose it's something I've gotten used to. Last year, around about the same time, we had exactly the same thing. So for me, it was just a matter of, when is it going to happen? When am I going to hear from the media? So, yeah. But you must know, coming back to the original point, development with match officials, no matter what level they are at, is always ongoing.
When you say rigorous training, please take me through, let's take Victor Gomes, for example. What does it take for this particular ref to get to where he is officiating at an AFCON, at a World Cup, to get to that level? What do you need to go through as a ref?
Like I said, the training of match officials are always extensive and ongoing. And I mean, there's always 3 aspects of refereeing that is focused on worldwide. You have your technical, you have your physical, and then you have your psychological aspect. And all those have to be provided to the match officials on an ongoing basis. On the technical side, we get all the latest training techniques, all the latest concepts from FIFA, and they are implemented worldwide. I'm sure we all watch the different leagues around the world. I mean, on SuperSport, we have access to many of the leagues. So we can see that the refereeing is always of a high standard, no matter how we look at it. In South Africa, I think we focus a lot on refereeing when things go wrong. But yeah, it's important that for the referee, him or herself, that they take the professional approach to their refereeing and continue the hard work with whatever information they have been provided, with whatever resources they have been provided, And I must tell you, you mentioned Victor Gomes. Victor Gomes, Jerome Damon, Paulo Marx currently are some of the top FIFA instructors we have in South Africa.
Right.
They are the ones who head the workshops where the match officials attend. So we do provide all the top tools with the latest information, latest resources. We make all that available to the match official.
Would you say there's nothing lacking in South Africa when you mention our quality, our standard, the rigorous training, the ongoing training? We're not lacking anywhere, are we?
No, we don't. We don't. Like I said, you can have an excellent system in place, but it's the people, or you can have an excellent process in place, but it's people who need to run the process. And for example, refereeing, we know refereeing can be very difficult at times, but it can also be very rewarding. But it's up to the match official on the day. And a match official is not always going to have a good day, just like a player. You can have an excellent player like Ronaldo, for example, who will go a game or two without scoring a goal. And people will ask, hey, what's happening? Are there personal issues or whatever? So it's exactly the same with match officials. They are going to have an off day, and there's going to be that day where they are going to make a decision that everybody is going to scrutinize, even if everyone in refereeing.
Yeah, Adul, you spoke about, I was very interested in the psychological issues. So now both those referees would have taken a lot of online abuse. So how did they deal with that? I mean, what is your protocols in terms of assisting them with dealing with the online abuse of fans in the stadiums? And, it's an incredible weight for those guys to bear,
yeah.
In terms of their families as well, their friends. They're going to be called cheats. I mean, what do you do as an organization to help them?
I'm very, very happy, firstly, that you are asking that question, because this is something that we don't think of. We have made to our match officials available psychologists who they can speak to. The numbers, the email addresses are available, so they can pick up the phone at any time and call if they have any problems. What we also have are experienced former match officials who are currently instructors, or they are referee assessors. And we've put it out there to the match officials that they can use these former match officials as mentors. Speak to someone you trust, speak to someone you are comfortable with, speak to someone who has the experience that can assist you with all the negativity around refereeing. And as we all know, sometimes the negativity is so uncalled for. The comments are so bad. I mean, in my refereeing days as well, there were many decisions that I'd made that had been criticized, and criticized heavily. I mean, people swear in your face, but they don't come back and apologize when they realize that they were the ones who got it wrong, that the referee actually made the correct decision. So those are the kind of things that we look at. We look at the positives for referees. This is what we talk to them about all the time. We ask them to refrain from being on social media, because we know how nasty it can be. There's a lot of positives as well. But at the end of the day, we, like I said, as the technical and physical aspects is ongoing, the psychological support has to be there as well from every circle, not just from SAFA.
Yeah, I agree with that. How do refs get chosen for particular games? Because with obviously all the corruption, the bribing that is happening, we talk a lot about the lower league divisions where apparently it's more rife than perhaps in a PSL. How are refs chosen, Abdul? I mean, if I'm a ref, when will I know if I'm doing the Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns game? Just obviously, I guess if you know a week in advance, there's so much you could do, and you could take a brown envelope if you wanted to. But how does that process work?
Okay, firstly, I have to say that brown envelopes under my tenure are not happening. That I can tell you for a fact. If it is, I would love for somebody to come forward and mention that to me.
How do they? I mean, the whistleblowing part of it as well, before we carry on, how does that come in? Where? Is there a line? Is there something, that someone could complain?
Of course, SAFA has got the whistleblowers. I think there's an email address and there's a number that you can call if you have that information. There's an email address. I think it's integrity@safa.net, that people can, if they have that information, please do come forward. It's easy for anyone to make an accusation. it is extremely difficult to provide the evidence. Unfortunately, perception across social media is seen as reality. And this is unfortunately what match officials have to face. You spoke about how appointments are done.
Correct.
We have a committee in place who sit and do appointments, and I can tell you it is not easy. We have to look at match officials' temperaments. We have to look at the teams that are going to play. For example, let's say a Mamelodi Sundowns or an Orlando Pirates, or a Golden Arrows versus Chipper United. We have to look at the match. We have to look at the category of the match. And I'm not saying matches are categorized. In the refereeing, we do that. We know who the top teams are, and we know who, so there's a lot of factors that we look at before you put a name down on paper. There was a referee appointed to a certain match, and the same match official was involved in a perceived error in a similar match involving one of the teams during last year, not last year, last season. And everybody was asking, how is it possible that this referee can be officiating this team again, seeing that this happened a year ago, whatever. That comment clearly suggested to us that there's a lot of people out there that don't believe in change. We in refereeing believe that match officials change. They evolve all the time. They have to. Otherwise, the national level is not where they should be at.
Yeah. I guess you're only as good as your last game, right?
That is always the case, and that is the case with everything in life. People can praise you today, tomorrow you fall.
I'm a Liverpool fan, so I'm in a bad place today. So yeah.
I didn't want to mention that, but
But having said that, that referee Estevan Coves was brilliant last night. I thought he refereed the game perfectly.
No, definitely had a very, very good game. And you would have noted, there were incidents where someone would have looked at and said, hey, this is a foul, or hey, why is this not a yellow card? We also teach referees to manage situations, but, it's important. And I've always said this, we need to educate not just the match officials, but also the public and also the media with regard to the laws of the game. It is extremely disappointing that football is probably one of the only sports where probably 75, 80% of those who participate or are involved do not know the laws of the game.
Right.
That is why you will hear me say perceived mistakes, because an error to a supporter may not be an error to someone who's involved in refereeing. So it's easy to make a noise. It's difficult to prove why it is that you are making a noise. But coming back to that referee last night, his game management was excellent. His positioning and the reading was excellent. He had a very good game. My apologies to Liverpool fans.
Abdul, it's always a pleasure to chat to you. Thank you for your time today. And obviously, we'll be ringing again, because I think you hit the nail on the head there when you said about education. We're quick to shout, as couch referees, and very slow to fully understand, the full spectrum of exactly what refs go through on the daily. So thank you so much for your time.
It's only a pleasure. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
That was excellent.
It was. And I think, we're human beings at the end of the day. We really are, more than, I guess you're a human being before you're a referee, right?
Yeah, exactly. That you're a human being before you're a player. You're a human being before you're a presenter. You're a human being even if you're a Pirates supporter. Sorry, Mdu. We'll see you tomorrow, Mdu. If Mdu's still alive.
Cheerio.
Not the sports news on OmniAudio.Africa.